Hello everybody, welcome back to Screen Stars and welcome to another PlayStation 4 review. Today's review is for Star Trek Bridge Crew. Now this is a game that you can play in VR and now also you can play it in non-VR. In fact, quite some time ago they re-released this game to allow you to play it without using a VR headset. Now I have played this game both with a VR and without VR. Now when it was first released, I got this game, my son has got a VR headset for PlayStation 4, so I used his VR headset to basically buy this game and play it with his VR headset, and I enjoyed it in the VR headset. And then when they made it so that you could play it without the VR headset, I had a go with it again, and I even put a video up on the channel I think at the time. And then I haven't played this game for a while. Now obviously if you follow me on the channel you know that I've been watching and reviewing quite a lot of Star Trek recently. So the natural conclusion of that is that I want to play some Star Trek games. So I've played a little bit of Star Trek Online and I wanted to play some Star Trek Bridge Crew. Now I've already reviewed Star Trek Online on the channel, but I've never reviewed this game, so I've put quite a bit of time into this game without using the VR headset. And essentially I wanted to give you some of my feedback on this game. Now this is a game that you can play solo, but you can also play with your friends, and the idea of this game is that you are on the bridge of your starship. It's the USS Regis, although there is some DLC available that allows you to play the game as the Next Generation Enterprise and the original Enterprise, the original Kirk's Enterprise ship. So it does give you some quite nice options here if you buy the DLC, and I have bought the DLC. I don't remember how much it was, but it's probably fairly cheap. I think it might have been something like £5 or something like that, £5. So yeah, you could choose who you want to be. If you're playing solo, you could choose to be the captain, which, let's be honest, that's pretty much who you're going to choose to be, or you could choose to be somebody else, helm, tactical, engineering. But if you're playing with friends, you all choose a different role. So you've got captain, you've got your helm, you've got your tactical, you've got your engineering, and they've all got different roles to play in the upcoming missions. I have played it with friends before this game. I'm not really a big fan of multiplayer games, but I would suggest if you play a lot of online games with a lot of different friends, this would be a perfect game to play with your friends. However, this review is coming from my perspective, playing it mainly on solo, which is a different experience, granted, but it's also a little bit more of a relaxed experience, I think, because it's you that's controlling everything and you can kind of do things in your own time for the most part, if that makes sense. So yeah, your mission structures here, you've got campaign missions, and then you've got ongoing missions. Now the campaign missions are exactly what they sound like, really. You go through a certain number of missions to try and get through to the end, and you will upgrade your character as you go. Now you can also customize the look of your character. You can be human, non-human, Vulcan, all that kind of stuff, even though you don't necessarily see your face, but it's still a nice option to have. Now mission structures essentially consist of you get a captain's log at the initial start of the mission, and then you have to go to certain places on the map. So you'll be given instructions, you look at your orders, you will walk to a certain point on the map, and then you'll have to maybe go somewhere, scan something, or you'll get a transmission from someone in distress, etc, etc. Impulse to that location, scan certain areas, scan certain ships, scan certain anomalies, and most of the missions will lead to some form of combat, whether that be pirates, Borg, Romulans, Klingons, the usual sort of stuff that you would get in Star Trek. Now that's all well and good. I mean, it can essentially get quite repetitive, the mission structures here, and sometimes the difficulty spike, I think, is a little bit unrealistic and a little bit frustrating. I mean, some missions, you know, when you're going to combat, you'll have maybe a couple of ships to engage in combat with, and then other missions you'll go into, and it's just unrealistic. You'll have a couple of pirate vessels, and then you'll impulse somewhere else, and there's like 2 Klingon warships and 2 birds of prey or something like that. There's no way on earth you're going to survive that battle. It's very, very difficult. So the difficulty spike here, I don't think works to some degree, certainly on the campaign missions. Now the ongoing missions are interesting because you can go into the ongoing missions, and this is where you can use the DLC. As you can see here, this is the next generation Enterprise. So you can use the DLC and use different skins basically for the ongoing missions. So you can use the USS Aegis, the next generation Enterprise, or the original Enterprise. And the ongoing missions are almost like different every time you play them. They're kind of randomly generated type missions, even though they consist of similar tasks that you would expect to see on the campaign missions. Although the difficulty spike for the most part on the ongoing missions is pretty extreme as soon as you go into them. It kind of recommends that you complete the campaign, or certainly get well into the campaign before you even attempt some of the ongoing missions. I play quite a lot of the ongoing missions. Some of them are pretty standard stuff, and some of them are really very, very difficult. And I think that is my main criticism of this game, the fact that the starship that you're on feels too flimsy sometimes. You're spending most of your time ordering your engineers to repair certain things, and your shield goes down too quickly, I think, and your hull integrity goes too quickly. I think they maybe dropped the ball a little bit there and made the difficulty spike too extreme, I think. But for Star Trek fans, this is almost a dream. It's almost the perfect game. I've always wanted a Star Trek game where you are commander on the bridge of the Enterprise or a USS Starship. It's what I've always wanted, where you can you're on the bridge, you're giving orders out, you're flying to certain locations, you're warping, you're impulsing, you're in space battles. It's a dream come true for many, many Star Trek fans here. So to make this, I think, the complete game, it needed like away missions, so that you could beam people down to a planet, and then it goes to almost like a you know what I mean, third person perspective type game. And that for me, if they ever make a Star Trek game like that for me as a Star Trek fan would be the perfect game. So to summarise this game then, it's a must for Star Trek fans. It's very, very cheap to pick up nowadays. It looks great, as you can see. It looks and feels like Star Trek. I think the graphics are excellent here. You really do feel like you're on the bridge of a starship. You can look round, you can look at your crew, they all interact with you. When you're playing it on solo as well, you'll get someone on a panel coming and talking to you. So it does everything that you want from a Star Trek game. Apart from there are a couple of bits here and there, like the difficulty that gets a bit frustrating here and there. But it is a game that I'm certainly enjoying. It's a game that I think is worth picking up for Star Trek fans, and I think it's a really nicely made game by Ubisoft, and I don't think it gets as much recognition as it deserves, this game. I mean, when it first came out, there was a lot of people zoning in on the VR aspect of it, and the fact that you can play with friends and all that kind of stuff. But when you strip all that away, what is left in this game? Is it a worthwhile play? And I think it is. I think it is a worthwhile play, especially if you're a fan of Star Trek. So I'm going to give this game a very, very solid 8 out of 10. It's fun to play, you can lose hours in it, it's pretty easy to pick up and play, even without the VR. So pick it up now, I would suggest, if you can get it in a sale. I do see it in sales quite a lot as well in the PlayStation Store, and it's definitely worth picking up. So don't worry if you've not got VR, you can play this game without VR now. It's not a problem at all, and it works, I think, just as well, if not better. The VR headset, so I find personally, gets a little bit intense after a while, and to play it this way works as well. It's not just as fast and responsive as a VR headset, but it works well enough for me. So that is my review for Star Trek Bridge Crew. Definitely a game worth picking up if you find it in a sale. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'll see you back for more reviews very, very soon.